Hi, welcome to episode 104 of the PassioKnit Spinner podcast. My name is Tracy. You can find me as Schnüffeltier on Ravelry and Instagram. There's a Ravelry group for the podcast. Please come over, join, and thank you so much for being here. I have not podcasted in about 3 weeks, but I have a very, very good reason. I'm going to show that to you in about 1 minute. So, yeah, I am wearing the Blythe top by Kim Hargraves. It's in the book Breeze. I knit it a few years ago, and the yarn is Pandia's Jewels. It is their glitter base. The colorway is American Gothic, although I don't really understand the reference because American Gothic is a painting by Groundwoods, and it is quite a dark painting and not as, neon-y yellow, but okay, everyone can interpret stuff. So for knitting in the past, I have finished the dude in time. I finished it half an hour before the day that I needed it started, so very late at night. This is what it looks like in the pattern. And I'm going to show you what it looks like in real life. Boom! There it is. There's my own personal dude in his cardigan, of course, with a white Russian and sunglasses. And it fits perfectly, I think. So, yeah. He's going to take that off now so I can show you all the details. And he's going to go play with Tim. So, let's hope this works. Okay. Wonderful. So, there we go. Now we're alone. We had to start over because the first time when I said, and now he's going to go play with Tim, Tim decided to come over and hug his mummy. And I don't want him to be in the podcast, so we started over. Okay, now, as for the cardigan. This thing is gigantic, but you saw my husband's quite tall, so it fits him very well. It still is, in my opinion, a bit too long, and I could have actually knitted it a size smaller, but yeah, oh well. So here it is, the finished dude sweater. It is gigantic. I worked on it only when my husband was away, or sometimes in the evening, and I told him to not come into the reading room so I could work on it. But he did not know what I was knitting. He knew, of course, that I was knitting something for him, but he had no idea what it was. And I think he really likes it. The cardigan itself, like I said, the pattern is by Andrea Rangel. It is a free Ravelry download. This is the pattern. It's called The Dude. So this pattern is entirely knit in 1x1 rib with color work, knit flat. This is my first ever colorwork sweater. So yeah, I think it turned out nice. I really do. I think it's really good. So the colors are not perfect. This light sandy color is a bit too golden and not dark enough, but yeah, no. I'm gonna go with this turned out perfect. So here we go. I tried catching the floats on the inside of the sweater, but it showed extremely on the front, so I couldn't catch them. So these floats are all very, very long and just not caught at all. So I'm not sure yet if that is going to work out or not. But I mean, it turned out really nice. I am really, really proud of this, and I'm very proud that I finished it in time. So just when I thought I was done with all the knitting, I had finished the second sleeve. I was like, yeah, done. And I read the pattern and I saw, I have to knit 2 facings. Great. So I knit the facings and, they are seamed on. And the zipper is sewn in by hand. So you can see these little, what looks like white dots. I had basted it in, and when I took out the basting thread, I just pulled the actual yarn a bit through, but I don't care. It is sewn in. It's perfect. It is perfect. And my husband looks great in it, so what more can I ask for? So now, the technical stuff. I used 3 different sizes of needles for this. I knit all the hems, the first few rows on a US 8. It's a 5mm needle. And I used these Knitter's Pride Dreams for that. Love these. The actual cardigan is knit on 6mm. That's a US 10. And these are clover interchangeables. I love them. They are really nice and pointy, but the needle itself is super short, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. And the colorwork was knit on a US 7, a 7mm. There is no US for that. It's just a 7mm. Well, this one here says it's a 10.75, a US 10.75 needle. So 7mm. This is the ChiaoGoo interchangeables. I love those as well. So yeah, I knit on these 3 needles, and like I said, I think it turned out amazing. The yarn that I used is Fischerwolle Sporty. So this was the color that I originally had bought for the colorwork, but it is too reddish. So I decided against it, but that's the yarn that I used. It is a, what is it? 40% wool and 60% polyamide blend. It's a bulky weight yarn, or an Aran weight. And I have a lot left. I mean, not as much as I thought. I had bought 22 skeins of the main color, or 24. And I have 4 and a bit left, or almost 5. I counted the labels for all the skeins of yarn that I used, and I used up 25 skeins of yarn. That is a kilo and 250 grams. So it's, you know, this cardigan is heavy. I knit almost 2,400 yards into this. So it's gigantic. I started it on my dad's birthday, which is July 6th. I checked my Instagram because you know, for the last few weeks, all you saw was this cardigan on Instagram, and I'm very sorry, but it had to be done. So I started it on my dad's birthday, and I only worked on it when my husband was away. So when he left for work last week on Monday, last week he was gone, I had done the back and half a front, I think. So I finished the first front, knit the second front, knit both sleeves during that week. When he arrived back home on Friday, I still had to do 1 full sleeve. So I knit the full sleeve on Saturday while he took care of Tim. And then I did the facings on Sunday and seamed them on Sunday, picked up for the collar, started the collar. On Monday, I finished the collars, sewed the whole thing together, bought a zipper, inserted the zipper, and I was done at 11:30 p.m. And I needed it on Tuesday. So that was really close, but I did it. I did it. Actual knitting time, I would say 2 weeks. Between 14 and 16 days. But it took me all in all, it took me about 5 weeks. And I will not repeat that ever. Never ever. What I will do, however, as I have quite a bit of yarn left, is I will knit a mini dude for my son. And I'm probably going to use the wrongly bought color for the main color of the cardigan. Use the goldeny brown that I used for the stripes, also for the stripes, and I will use the white for the color work. So it's going to be like a negative version of what I have done so far. And yeah, so that is going to take care of the leftover yarn. I'm really proud of myself, I have to say. I know that sounds kind of douchey, but I really am proud of myself. I did it in time. It looks fantastic. And I mean, everyone on Instagram was so cheerful and so nice, and just I had so many cheerleaders making me go and trying to finish. So thank you so much for, you know, having my back on this. Yeah, I feel proud. I feel proud and just happy and glad. It's the 3rd sweater I knit for my husband. And he is the most knit-worthy person ever. I made him the first sweater after we've been together for 5 years. So let's start. The cardigan that I made for him was my anniversary gift. yesterday was our 10th wedding anniversary and our 15 years of dating anniversary, because we married on our 5th dating anniversary, because, you know, why remember 2 dates when you can have one? So I wanted to have this as a special gift for our 10th anniversary. And then I checked. I knit the first sweater for him in the year we got married for Christmas. So that's after 5 years. And then now I made this after 15 years. And I know I made a third one. I thought, it's very possible that that was 5 years ago, because that would have made my inner nerd quite happy, you know, to have knit a sweater for him every 5 years. But I didn't. I knit the other one 6 years ago. So, but so yeah, I made him 3 sweaters now, and I mean, millions of socks and hats and stuff. So it's not like he doesn't get stuff. I'm just so happy. I'm just happy. That's all I can say about it. I'm just happy. So that was that. Knitting in the present. I have a new thing to show that you haven't seen before. I started an Enchanted Mesa by Stephen West. I was looking for something totally different, and I've had 2 skeins of handspun that fall into my hands, and I was like, I wonder if I could use these for a Stephen West pattern, and if so, what could I use them with? So I went through my stash and I found just the perfect yarn combination for this sweater. So I started it, and yeah, I'm quite far on it. So I'm going to show you the pattern. Trying to show you the pattern without showing the pattern. So here it is. This is the sweater I am knitting for myself right now. And a lot of people on Instagram are very divided on it. I got messages saying, "Oh, I hope you will like it. I ripped mine because the fit is so awful." And I had also people comment and say, "Oh, I love mine. I wear it all the time." So I hope I fall into the latter category, because, you know, I kind of love the way it looks. So here's my version. I'm almost finished with the body because it's so addictive. And I'm not quite sure how to show this to you because it's so weird. Well, I'm gonna hold it here. So I'm gonna bring it up close to explain everything in a second. So this is what it looks like so far. I am done with the body shaping. I just have to do a few more rounds of ribbing, but I could not bring myself to do the ribbing yesterday because after finishing a gigantic cardigan in rib, I just didn't want to. So let's show you all the yarn I'm using. Like I said, it all started with my handspun, and this is the little bit I have left now that I'm trying to use, or I will try to use in the sleeves. Come. There we go. I spun this. I had 2 exact same bats from Politically Incorrect Fibers. And I spun them as gradients, as you can see here in the yoke. So they went from a light pink to a darker purpley, light turquoise, gray, and black. And I spun these as worsted weight yarn. And like I said, I had 2. These are my own labels that I used to use. And then I thought, okay, I have these. What will go with them? Then I found these 2, which are Regia Angora. That is a Regia yarn that has 65% merino wool, 25% polyamide, and 10% Angora. This is the label for these. So that's the pink, and I'm using that for all the ribbing on the sweater. And for the main part of the sweater, I am using this sparkly gray that is Opal Royal. I have no idea if that ever really was a thing, because I bought this at the factory store from Opal Yarn. It is 50 gram skeins, and I have 1 left. They look like this. So this is my main yarn, and I'm holding it together with this one here, which is Wollmeise lace in the colorway 47 AG, which is, you know, I think from the periodic table for silver. Is AG silver or is it iron? I don't know. I don't care. The thing is, I got this. It looked like a skein of sock yarn. And I got this in a kit years ago for a 3-color shawl where you needed 3 different colors of Wollmeise lace and about 100 grams each. So they made these kits, and I have the other 2 skeins still downstairs because I didn't use them. But this was the label that was on. And yeah, like I said, it's a lace yarn and it's just 100 grams instead of the usual 300 grams that you get. My problem with this skein so far is that I had 3 knots in it, in a 100 gram skein of Wollmeise lace. And I did not buy these at a discounted price, you know. I'm okay with 1 knot, doesn't bother me. And if I had 3 knots in a 300 gram skein, didn't bother me either. But this is 100 grams and I had 3 knots. And that's not okay because Wollmeise is not cheap yarn. So now back to the sweater. So what I'm doing, or what I did, I started with the pink and then to 2 rounds of the main color, and then I started the short rows for the yoke. And I ran out of my first skein of handspun somewhere in here. And then I thought, okay, how will you do this to make this look good? And I decided to wind the other skein of handspun the other way around. So I started with the black instead of the light pink. So I have now a gradient going from light pink all the way to black, and down here all the way from black back to the light pink. So it's, you know, mirroring each other. And I'm really happy with that. I think that turned out nice. I was a bit afraid to run out of my handspun, so I was looking for a different skein of handspun that I could use for the rest of the short rows on the bottom of the sweater. Ooh, this is not a lot of needle here, but I did not run out. Instead, I have this little bit left, so I'm going to use this in the sleeves, I think, because that is all of the Wollmeise lace I have left. And I still have to knit 2 sleeves, so I am going to make this work somehow. So yeah, that is my enchanted mesa. I have no idea yet how it will fit, but as soon as I finish the bottom in about 6 rows or so, I will find out and I will take a picture. Or I'll let my husband take a picture. So, and that is actually the only work in progress I have, because all I knit on was this sweater and the dude. For knitting in the future, I really want to finish some of my whips because I still have the Tecumseh. Is that correct? Thank you for everyone who tried to tell me. I still have that on the needles, but I'm thinking of modifying it a little bit because I'm knitting it with worsted instead of DK weight. So my yoke is going to be longer, and it already, you know, has the sleeves separate around here. And if I do it as the pattern suggests, I'm going to have to separate down here. So I'm going to change things a bit, which is fine. You know, that is just, I'm going to make it work for my yarn. And then I'm kind of glued to my little bench here. The other thing I still have on the needles is the Lotta dress, where I have about 15 centimeters to go on the body. And I think that is it. Of course, I did stop a bit on the crochet blanket because I find that crocheting for a long time really hurt my arm, especially this muscle here. So I put it away for a bit to have that relax again. And so, yeah, that is it. I also am going to start something new very soon because, I mean, I finished the gigantic sweater and my enchanted mesa is almost done. So, yeah, I want to cast on new stuff. I do not have spinning because I still have absolutely no intention to spin whatsoever. It's not on my mind. I do have new stuff, however. We had a knitting club meeting at my friend Jenny's house, and my friend Sandra, who is the dyer behind Kunterbunte Wolle, brought a gigantic basket full of yarn. And you know, as I'm a very good friend and I didn't want her to carry all that yarn back home, I just rehomed some of it. My husband was with us because Tim, he loves the girls in the knit group, and we usually meet here and he gets to meet everyone, but we met at Jenny's house. So he was like, I want to go, I want to come, I want to see everyone. And then my husband said, oh, okay, let's go. We will come with you. And they went to the playground and stuff. But so he was there, and yeah, he just doesn't mind when I buy yarn at all because, you know, he knows that I knit stuff. So I bought yarn. The first thing that I took out of her basket were these 3 skeins of a 100% superwash merino yarn. And I have a plan for these already. I'm going to knit the Jujui shawl by Hohi Locatelli. It's in her Authentic Collection book. And yeah, these are just wonderful. Wonderful, beautiful semi-solids. None of these have a tag, so, but I don't need a tag. Then the next thing that I took out, I already paired with other yarn. Oops. Okay, you go in here. So the other thing I decided on next was 2 skeins of a kind of speckled yarn. And it's these 2 skeins of white with green, yellow, and some orange and black speckles. And I first thought I could knit like a top for myself. And then I thought, I really like that Baubles shawl by Andrea Maury, and you need over 700 meters of the main color. So you need 2 skeins. And you need 2 contrast colors. So I dug into my stash and I found these 2. And I bought these 2 at Art Fibers in San Francisco years and years ago. So this is the first one I'm going to use. It's the Shaki base, which is 100% yak. It's very nice, very soft, and I only have 130 yards. According to pattern, I think I need about 150, but yeah, I don't care about these 20 yards. So that's the first one. And here's it together with the main yarn. And the other contrast color is another Art Fibers yarn. It's Camus, and it's 65% camel and 35% cashmere, and I have 500 yards of this, and I need around 170, I think. So yeah, these will make my Baubles shawl, and I will have enough left of this to make something very nice for around my neck. So yeah, these 2 new stuff paired with the stuff that I've had for ages. I think I got them the year we got married, or 2 years after. So I've had them at least for 8 years. So it's time that I use them up. And then I thought, okay, that's it. That's 5 skeins. That's way more than I need because I need minus 500 skeins of yarn actually. So, and then she had sweater sets dyed up for the Zweig sweater by Caitlin Hunter. And I do have a set of yarn set aside for that, but I kind of liked her version so much better. And I just could not get it. So I got it. There we go. It's this eggplant purpley color for the main color and this beautiful speckled sandy beige for the yoke. This is going to happen. This will be my Zweig. And the yarn that I had set aside will be a Branches and Buds colorwork yoke from one of the making magazines instead. So yeah, I had to get this is because I love this one so much, but I could not wear this one because I will look like a dead person. But with the purple, perfect. So yeah, I got 10 skeins of yarn from my friend. I couldn't help it. Good. Now, reading, listening, watching. I do not have a lot of stuff to talk about this week. I'm sorry. Reading, listening, watching. I've been reading. Oh God, have I been reading. Well, before I got crazy into knitting, I used to read all the time. It was the one thing I did. And it was very normal for me to read way past midnight every day. And on weekends, when I could sleep in, I would read just, till 3 or 4 in the morning. And I also did that in school breaks. I have not done that in a very long time because I have fallen in love with knitting. And I can knit and read at the same time, but I prefer to do that with the ebook because it's just easier. So when I read a real book, I don't knit. And I kind of have a conflict of interest there because I really want to read because I love books, but I also really want to knit because knitting is kind of my life. So I had finished the stitched up book that I read, and I wanted to read something totally different, something lighthearted and just, you know, easy. And I was standing in front of my bookshelf and I thought, okay, what do I want? What do I want? And then I found this book that I had started months ago and just put aside because I hit a point in the story where just nothing happened. It was super boring and I didn't like it anymore. So I put it away. And I'm talking about A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. And then I was about halfway through at this point, maybe here. And then I picked it back up and couldn't put it down. So I read while my husband was away because that's the smartest idea I ever had. You know, when I'm alone with my son, I read every night until 2 in the morning, which meant that I used nap time for a nap as well because I was just so tired. But yeah, I read till 2 in the morning for a full week and it was amazing. So I finished A Court of Thorns and Roses and immediately started A Court of Mist and Fury, which is the second book in the trilogy. And I'm at there. I'm at this point right now. So I'm, you know, close to being done with it. And I have to say, I have a total crush on Reese. And I know he's supposed to be called Reese, but I don't like that. So he's Riss in my head. And as this is my reading experience, you know, I'm going to call him whatever I want. So total crush on that guy. I'm not sure why, but I absolutely love him. So these books, if you do not know, are YA, that's young adult, or as some call new adult. So for, you know, the 2-year older ones, I don't really know what the difference is. But there's a bit of sex in there. So, you know, I would have read that when I was 16 because why not? So yeah, if you do not like that, you might not want to read these, but it's not a lot and it's not, you know, super awful. So the first book, A Court of Thorns and Roses, starts out as a very loose fairy tale retelling of the Beauty and the Beast. Very loose. And then, you know, the whole story is based on that fairy tale. But this one here, not so much anymore. I don't really know how to explain a book. I'm sorry. I'm really bad at this. Good thing I'm not a booktuber. So yeah, I'm reading those. I'm sure I'm going to start the third one very soon because last night, you know, it was our anniversary yesterday. And we decided to spend our evening the way we used to spend all evenings. And that was, we sat down, both a book in our hands, some light music in the background, and we read. And then we read, and we read a bit more. And my husband got up somewhere in that time and said, yeah, do you need something from downstairs? Because I really want a sparkling water. I'm going to go get some. And I was just wanting to shout to him that he should bring me a pack of chips because, you know, I wanted to have some. And then I looked at the clock and it was 2:15. And we decided that we should go to bed because we have a 3-year-old who does not care if we read through the night. So yeah, it was great. That's how we spent most of our evenings before we had a son. So yeah, because we both love books. So that is it for reading, listening, watching. I haven't listened to anything. I didn't watch anything. So I didn't sew either. So there's no sewing. For everything else, I have one thing. I am going to have a VKN this Saturday. That's the 18th of August. I wrote down September. It's not September, it's August. 18th of August. We had one last Saturday that I didn't announce anywhere and it was very spare. we were 3 people and it was super fun, but as my husband's going to be gone again for work, that includes 2 Saturdays, I decided to have the VKN this week instead of next week where it was, you know, where its original schedule would be. So this week, Saturday, the 18th of August, 9 p.m. Berlin time, we will have a VKN. And I look very much forward to seeing all of you. So please come over and join. And I know I said at the end of my episodes, I will talk about all the things I'm making for my friend Sadie. I didn't start anything because I was so focused on the dude, but I will start stuff. And also, we just realized or discovered in the last VKN that her due date is on my birthday. That's perfect. It's perfect. So, yeah, I hope it will happen. Sadie, make it happen. That would be so cool. Apart from that, I don't really know what to say else. I could talk a bit more about, mental health, kindness, and stuff like that for a little bit. So I was talking about some things last week or last time, 3 weeks ago. And thank you all very much for getting in touch and for encouraging me to stick up, to stand up against things that I deem to be wrong. And I will continue to do that. And this last week, I had another very bad day. And knowing that I have people who have my back is just a good thing, it helps me a lot. And I talked to my sister actually, and she said, a broken arm everyone can see, but no one can see inside you and see what's there. And most people don't see what's inside me. And I just realized that over the last few weeks, and when I talked to my other sister, I said, I feel like I'm wearing a mask with my face on it that pretends to be me, but I don't feel like that. And I haven't felt like me in a very long time. And in the last few weeks, I'm slowly going back to being myself and feeling like the person I used to be. So that's a good thing. It really is. And I'm just talking about this because I want my podcast to be a real thing. And I don't want to pretend. I just don't. I don't want to pretend. I am me. I have very, very much my flaws, and that's just part of who I am. And not talking about it or just pretending that everything is always perfect it's just dumb, in my opinion, because nothing is ever perfect. And as I am out there on the internet and people watch my podcast, I have kind of a responsibility, I feel like, to be real and to not show perfectionism, because that doesn't exist, not in my world at least. So yeah, I'm struggling, but I'm getting better. Yay. So if you're struggling, it's going to get better for you too. I'm sure it will. So yes, I have a really good talent of bringing everything down in the end, don't I? Okay, so I'm going to stop now because this is getting awkward. I hope I will have a lot more to show next time I will talk to you. I have no idea when that will be. My husband has to go away for work again very soon, so I hope that I will be able to have a podcast before that. If not, I will talk to you again in September, because that's just how it's going to work out. Okay, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful time. I hope to see you all on Saturday for the VKN. And until I talk to you next time, I hope you enjoy everything you do. I have to find the button. So here it is. Okay, I hope you enjoy everything you do. And until next time, bye.